So in this tutorial, I'll be talking about multiprocessing in Python. So you may have actually heard about multiprocessing. In the last tutorial, we actually talked about threading in Python, and threading may or may not work. In some cases it does work, and most cases it does not work. So let's see how to actually work with multiprocessing, because this thing is actually more efficient and this can actually work better than threading. Uh, Okay, so in multiprocessing, the tasks are actually divided into different processors, and each processor can handle different processes, and that is how actually multiprocessing works. So we'll just get more into it now. Before we actually get into multiprocessing, we have to actually discuss about something called a main function in Python. You may have actually heard about main function in C or C++, but you may not have actually heard about the main function in Python. But in Python, we have something called if name is equal to main. You may have actually seen this, and so let's see what this name is equal to main function actually is. So I have created a separate file here called mylib. So I have a separate file here called mylib, and I have a mult.py function or mult.py file here as well. So let me actually declare a couple of functions here. Okay, so we'll declare some basic functions here. So I'll say def add, we'll write a function to actually add two numbers x and y, and we'll just return x plus y, and we'll actually write another function to subtract x and y, and we'll return x minus y. We can also actually simply write a basic function called hello, that will simply print out hello. Okay, so we have actually written three basic functions here, and one actually basically adds two numbers, second one can actually subtract two numbers, and third one simply prints out hello world. So now we can actually use this function inside another file as long as they are in the same directory or folder. I can simply say import mult, and then if I just want to access or use a function inside this, I'll say mult dot add. I can simply add two numbers, and I can actually simply print them out by putting them inside a print statement. So if I say print, and if I just run this program, you can see that we have actually used the add function from this file. So this is actually quite normal and used in a lot of places. So how does Python actually do this? The answer is, when we actually say import mult, what it actually does, it actually comes here and it actually takes all these functions and execute them even before we reach the second line. So in the first line itself, all these actually are taken and are executed. So for example, if I simply say print, maybe print something, testing or test, and if I just simply come here and if I just run the script, you can see that this test actually got printed out. Simply we just imported this, and we didn't do anything to actually print out that thing, but it simply got printed out. So what I actually saw here is, when we just simply imported this function, this thing actually is getting printed. What if we actually don't want that? What if we only want this thing to be executed in this file only, or in this module only? We want this thing to be executed, and when this is imported, it shouldn't be executed. What will we actually do in such cases? The answer is, we actually use the if name is equal to main function. So before actually doing anything else, let's just print out name here. So it'll actually, and I just come here, and if I just run the program, so if we just run this program, you can see that the answer or the name value is actually printed to be mult, which is the name of the module that we actually imported it from. So we are actually getting that value. Now if we just come to this original module and if we run this program, you can see that we are actually getting the name is equal to main. So that is what this condition is actually used for. So if we say if name is equal to main, then this program should be executed. So what we are actually basically telling here is that this program or this particular statement, I can just change this. I can say test here. So what I'm basically telling here is that only if this Python file is run directly, only if this module is run directly, should this be printed, or should this part of the code be executed, or else it shouldn't be executed. So now if I just run this program, we get test here, and if I just come here and if I execute the program, we don't get that test here. So for such situations, we actually use this name is equal to main function. Okay, so now we can actually come here and just execute all the code here. So I can actually say add, or I can actually simply say print uh, add of xy, and I can specify two numbers here. Same can be done with sub, uh, and we can also just execute the hello function, and this will only be executed if we just run this module directly. And if I just run this, all this get executed, and if I run this from here, so what programmers like to do is actually add actually everything to a main function and execute the main function here. So this will actually prevent some errors, some minor errors. So now actually if we just change this to from main to actually, if I just change this to mult, so if I just change this to mult, this the effect will actually be the opposite. So if I just come here and if I just execute the program, we can see that everything has been executed. And if I come and run this here, nothing will be executed because we have actually set it to execute in here. So that's all about if name is equal to main function. This is actually very important before before actually looking at the multiprocessing module.